Alright, so today I'm going to be doing some tuning on the Insight, and I'm going to show you a cold start and a little bit of driving video as well. So let's try this cold start and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the converter box for the speedometer and tach installed, and it seems like coolant temp works, and so that needs to be converted. Obviously there's some issue with the speedometer, and there's some issue with the tach as well. I mean, they kind of work. I think that the signals are either shorted out or there's a bad ground or something with the cluster. I'm not sure. So I need to work on that, but tonight I'm working on doing some tuning. So I'll let this warm up and we'll be back to do some driving. Okay, so transmission seems to work fine. Cooling system seems to work well too. Uh, exhaust sounds terrible, as you heard, so I'll have to fix that. But otherwise, car runs good. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I need to do some data logging and some tuning, and hopefully this thing will be ready for action. Here's a video of a log I took last night. So this is a first gear run, and you can see I've got over here, I've got the tune open, and then green line is throttle position, red line is manifold pressure, the white line is RPM, and then in the bottom I've got air fuel ratio. So you can actually see, if you haven't seen one of these before, you can see over on the map here, as I go forward, this is basically the fuel map. This is a VE table. So the number you put in here dictates how much fuel gets injected at any given time. So as I go to wide open throttle here, you can see that rise up to around 100 kPa, which is atmospheric. And you can see the air fuel ratio is like around 13 right there. And as I go further to the right, you can see the acceleration, because you can see the shape of this. This is like first or second gear. I think this is first gear. The shape of this, you can see it starts to flatten out. The white line starts to flatten out at the top there. That tells me you're not getting the top end like maybe you could. So I took it up to about 6,000 RPM. As you can see here, the AFR keeps falling as it revs up, and I've actually got values in here that indicate that shouldn't be the case, but I figured out that VTEC wasn't kicking in, so it being a K24A4, that means only one intake valve was opening. So the fact that I even got it to rev to 6250 is probably pretty good. So down in here, when you first tip into it, it's kind of quick here, and once you start getting to, what is this, 4800 RPM, it just falls on its face. And that's because only one intake valve is opening. So you can get a good idea of what's going on with the car by logging this. And I've got the free version of this logging software, which I'm not crazy about because it only lets you do a short log. But you can look at what the engine's doing. Most importantly for what I'm doing is look at what the AFR is doing, air fuel ratio, and then you can adjust how much fuel it's getting, take another log, and then look at it again, so you don't have to do this while you're driving. So it's pretty cool. This is Megalog Viewer HD, and it's this version is free. You can pay to get a licensed version, and it'll let you look at longer logs, and it has some auto tuning functions too, which probably would be handy for somebody who hasn't done it before, which is me. So I need to get the VTEC issue sorted out. There's not really much point in modifying this table right now until I get VTEC figured out. And I think I know what the issue is there. I'm using the nitrous output because I want to use the VVT output for the VTC. So the nitrous output needs an arming pin. It needs to be armed. So if you're actually using it for nitrous, you'd flip a switch on, and that would arm your system. But I don't have any wire connected to that pin on the Speeduino right now, so it just floats, and so you never get the nitrous output engaged like you should to activate VTEC. So I think that's just a matter of grounding, soldering wire in there to ground it all the time, so it's always enabled. and then it seems like it's going to be pretty simple. So we'll see how that looks, and yeah, things are going pretty well, I think, overall. So stay tuned for more.